Francesco Bagnaia just abandoned the fastest motorcycle on the planet. Double world champion, 31 Premier Class victories, the most successful competitor Ducati has ever nurtured. Yet he negotiated a 4-season pact with Aprilia instead of fighting to secure his seat back home. Does that sound like a smart career move to you? Because half the paddock brands it a reckless gamble, the other half labels it pure genius. Here is how the drama actually unfolded, and why this major shift matters way more than one single competitor switching machinery. June 24, 2026. Ducati Corsa makes the divorce official. 8 years together, shattered. Bagnaia and his red machine part ways at the end of this current cycle. Team manager Davide Tardozzi branded him a close friend on camera, then dropped a line that exposes everything about how this betrayal actually feels inside that high-pressure garage. He warned, quote, "We know that Pecco will be a problem for us next year, because we know he's a very, very fast rider." Read that again. That's not a farewell. That's a warning shot. Because here is the reality nobody wants to speak aloud. This was not a case of Bagnaia wanting to run. Ducati initiated this sweeping shift. He had to secure his future elsewhere. And you do not desert a title-winning motorcycle unless something inside that box has turned completely toxic. Right? So let's dissect the exact friction points that drove him to the edge. If this kind of behind-the-scenes drama grips you, hit that subscribe button right now, because this story only gets messier from here. The previous year felt agonizing. Marc Marquez finished a substantial 257 points ahead of him. Identical bike, shared garage, equal equipment. That is not a minor slip-up. That is an entire season getting outclassed by the superstar 3 feet away. And before that, in 2024, Bagnaia surrendered the world title by a mere 10 points to Jorge Martin. 10. A single low-side crash, a single bad tire compound. He stood that close to a 3rd consecutive crown, but instead watched the prize slip right through his fingers, then witnessed his own team promote his fiercest rival for the very next season. You do not ink a 48-month commitment with a rival factory because you feel content. You execute that deal because you are actively drowning. Now consider the detail that alters the entire timeline. Most spectators assumed this represented a panic reaction, a sudden flight after a bad year. It was not. Bagnaia finalized his decision in February during preseason testing in Thailand, before a single engine roared for a 2026 race. He verbally pledged his future to Aprilia, months before anyone outside a microscopic circle knew a thing. Ponder that reality. He navigated an entire grueling calendar, flashing smiles for lenses, delivering generic interviews, all while harboring a large secret destined to shatter the entire grid. How do you even keep that quiet? That does not signal panic. That signals patience. Cold, calculated, and quiet. Ducati refused to sit idle. Just 24 hours before announcing Bagnaia's exit on June 23rd, the powerhouse secured Marc Marquez through 2028. Then, on the afternoon of that exit announcement, they unveiled 22-year-old Pedro Acosta as his replacement. Acosta, 22 years old, slated to vault into the factory saddle Bagnaia will vacate next season. So while Bagnaia silently plotted his escape, Ducati actively constructed his successor in real time. Marquez and Acosta, ultimate pedigree paired with raw, unbridled firepower. That does not represent a standard rebuild. That represents a direct declaration of war. And that declaration explains why Bagnaia's long-term Aprilia alliance carries such heavy weight. This is no temporary bridge agreement. It bypasses the standard 2+2 format with escape clauses that early rumors hinted at. This is an Ironclad 4-season pact running from 2027 through 2030. He will reach 33 years of age by the time this cycle concludes. 48 months is an eternity in this sport. Legends rise and careers collapse in half that window. And Bagnaia stakes his physical prime away from the powerhouse Ducati, the dominant manufacturer of the modern era. If this risk resonates with you, hit like right now. It helps push this story. Here is where the gamble turns even more dangerous. The sport undergoes a significant engineering overhaul starting in 2027, shrinking engine capacities from 1,000 cubic centimeters down to 850 cubic centimeters. The new rulebook completely outlaws all ride height and hole shot devices, the technology Ducati mastered to dominate corner exits. Also, aerodynamic dimensions will shrink, slashing downforce levels and forcing competitors to rely on pure mechanical grip. This shift dramatically alters how these prototypes handle. No team possesses any real-world racing data yet, so Bagnaia does not merely switch brands. He jumps ship at the precise second the entire playing field resets to zero. Every ounce of advantage Ducati perfected over its recent years of dominance vanishes instantly, which actually turns this large gamble into a calculated strategic window. For the first time, Aprilia does not begin a cycle trailing years behind. Every factory design office starts with the exact same clean sheet of paper. That represents either masterclass timing or a desperate excuse masquerading as master strategy. It is easily both. A personal element exists here that telemetry cannot capture. Aprilia CEO Massimo Rivola did not merely recruit a rapid competitor. He secured a national hero. Bagnaia joins Marco Bezzecchi, two Italian competitors, VR46 Academy graduates, and close comrades, piloting matching Italian prototypes under one flag. Rivola characterized this acquisition as a campaign to champion Italian excellence. That is not hollow corporate PR. That represents pride over cold metrics. And that element completely transforms how you must interpret this entire saga. This does not show a broken athlete fleeing a difficult season. This shows an elite competitor selecting an environment where he reigns as the undisputed centerpiece of the entire project, rather than an afterthought languishing in the shadow of Marquez. But Bagnaia did not stand as the sole domino to collapse. Today, Yamaha announced the signing of Jorge Martin and Ai Ogura for 2027 and 2028. Martin, the 2024 champion, defects from Aprilia to pilot the Yamaha factory effort. So no, Aprilia does not retain both superstars. Martin departs. Bagnaia arrives. One superstar traded for another, completely reconstructing the grid within 8 days. Why did this entire logjam burst simultaneously? Manufacturers remained trapped in a bitter standoff over the sport's new participation agreements. That deadlock finally dissolved in June 2026. The second signatures dried, every delayed announcement erupted. Marquez's extension, Acosta's Ducati signing, Bagnaia's exit, Martin's Aprilia move. The major announcements went public over different periods, with Bagnaia's extension signed months before the June flurry. This was not chaos. This was pressure finally breaching the dam. Now analyze the chessboard. KTM integrates Acosta. Aprilia loses its star rider but inherits two hungry Italian Academy brothers with points to prove. Yamaha, fighting to escape a slump, just secured former world champion Martin. Every factory just wagered its future on contrasting philosophies, and none know who made the correct call. That uncertainty represents the real narrative. Bagnaia does not pursue a guaranteed trophy. He chases a fresh start on completely different machinery, heading into a radically modified technical chapter, surrounded by compatriots who share his nationality rather than intense garage hostility. That stands as either the most audacious gamble of his entire life or the most catastrophic miscalculation witnessed in this sport for decades. No one can predict the outcome. Not Rivola, not Tardozzi, not even Bagnaia himself. We only know this: a double world champion just turned his back on the dominant machine that built his legacy, wagering 4 seasons, and likely the twilight of his prime, on a promise. That demands an edge most competitors do not possess. Label it confidence. Label it desperation. Either way, this defection will dictate Grand Prix racing for years. If this major shift has you questioning what comes next, hit like and subscribe, because this grid transformation has only just begun.